Hey guys, Andrew the Realtor here with the September 2022 housing market update. Sorry, I'm still having some the technical issues, and so hopefully you guys can hear this well, and there's not too much lag time between me speaking and the voice. Anyway, hope everyone's been well. So I'll try to make this fairly fast. You guys know there's really two reasons I always do these every month. One is to provide information for those of you who are just generally might be interested in the real estate market. Obviously, my past clients and my friends and people that I know, and certainly that I've met over my many years in real estate. And the second thing is for those of you who actually might be somewhat on the fence or maybe thinking about entering the market, and undoubtedly, especially this year, are getting a lot of conflicting information, sometimes contradictory information, sometimes contradictory to the truth, which isn't always great. So I'm hoping to provide some information. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe, hit the like button. I only provide real estate information. That's kind of it. In the newsletter, for those of you who are getting this in the newsletter, I've got stuff about landlords, which is very interesting. So notes about the market, other than myself, so you have another source. Some stuff about interest rates, some stuff about a specific real estate scam that you guys should be wary of, although most of you will probably not fall for it. And of course, stuff on scams. Oh, and an interesting article about focus and podcasts. Nothing to do with real estate per se, but it's helped me in my business, and I think it's really interesting. Definitely, if nothing else, look at that. If you have no interest in real estate whatsoever, don't delete the newsletter, don't delete the email. As I always say, keep it for later reference. But do look at the little article about the podcast and the focus thing. Very, very interesting. So let me get right into this. I'm going to minimize myself to a degree here, and we're going to go right into the slideshow. So here we go. Basically, this is August numbers. I'm a little late into the month here. I have been kind of waiting for some updates. So overall, what happened in August is more activity than July. I know we all talk about interest rates. We think the interest rates had a huge impact on the market. They've had an impact, but it's not nearly as big as we think. Last month, I spoke to you about what happened in July, for example, the first 2 weeks of July versus the second 2 weeks of July this year. Not much difference. And that's when we had one of our bigger rate hikes. And of course, we just had one recently in the beginning of September as well. Has it made an impact? A little bit, but overall, the biggest impact so far has been the natural change in the market from the beginning of the year, January, February, to June and July. That's the biggest one. If you can do something that'll give you more of a 20 to 25% drop in price, I'd like to see it. And frankly, the interest rates hikes have not really done it. I know that's what everyone is saying. Not everyone. People in the media and such are saying, but honestly, that's not really the case. So let's look at the numbers specifically. So August numbers, obviously, we don't have September yet. We have August. So home sale drop, obviously, from August of last year. Remember, 2021, you can kind of almost remove that from memory. Every month was a record month, and the year was a record year in terms of sales. In terms of an average, August, we're slightly lower. And again, that's only because not only is it summer, but also we have the interest rate stuff and a huge change in the market where people are kind of being tired out with a huge drop and not sure what to do. One of the things about things like interest rates and that kind of thing is anytime something is very big on the news, it gets people psychologically versus the actual effect of the interest hikes themselves. The psychology of media and influence on the market is significant, even if the things that their policies are doing are not as significant at all. So back to August. Obviously less than August of 2021, but as you'll see in my next slide, more sales than the previous month, which is very interesting considering it's the summer. Active listings, way up. I mean, look at the difference. Active listings, just under 8,200 in August of 2021, up over 13,000. Not a balanced market. You guys will know 20,000 is a balanced market if you watch these newsletters and these market updates, but way up from certainly August of last year. So if you have less sales and higher inventory, what will happen? Obviously, the price is not going to be as good, and the demand is squelched to some degree. So look at the average prices. Now, the active listings is important because I'll be talking to buyers, especially in the next couple of slides, and I want you to keep track of active listings, how much more inventory, how many more options there are for buyers. And of course, if you're selling, you're also buying most of the time, not always. And if you're buying, then you have more options. Very interesting. Beneficial actually to both buyers and sellers. So average prices, for the most part, they're very similar to what was in 2021. So interestingly, buyers, take note, you could buy a property for the same price, basically, that it was in 2021, with a few minor exceptions. Condos up a little bit, detached down a little bit. That's a given one because that's the biggest segment in terms of overall price. And of course, semis down and townhome up, semis slightly down. That's on average. 3%, 2% doesn't really play into it because it's an average number. So for the most part, same numbers as 2021. Pretty amazing considering the GTA and the kind of increases we've had. Do you think it's a good opportunity to buy? I would say so, but not everyone says so. Let's move on. So here's some stuff I'm going to minimize, and forgive me for the lack of quality on this thing on the left. I took it from another slide because, in all seriousness, I try to provide you guys information that I don't even have myself in terms of graphics, and I take from other sources where I see something that might be a benefit to you guys specifically. So February of 2022 and September of 22, I'm really going to harp on the aspect of it's not life-changing differences we're dealing with here. So purchase price in February this year versus September of this year. And again, sorry about the fogginess, but $999 versus $899. That's a fairly realistic difference, give or take. Down payment numbers different. You're paying down payment. You would have paid more down payment before, more for the house before, and more for the insurance premium before, because we're doing under 20%, as a lot of people are doing, especially first-time home buyers. Mortgage number, 936 versus 834. Here's the kicker. Here's what the benefit would have been before, buying before, even at a higher price. And that is, of course, the rate. The rate would have been much lower, which means you're paying down, you're paying less monthly generally, but you're also paying down a lot more principal. In 5 years, those buying higher, at higher price, but lower interest rates would be winning a little bit, in terms of overall paying down of principal, so equity. But overall, they're talking about these life-changing things, and people are reconsidering even entering the market. Notice the month cost difference. Payment $45.21, $46.28. That's what, $130 bucks or so. $130. That's not nothing. And of course, there's an aspect of principal versus interest as well. But on a monthly basis, difference between February and September of this year is that for this particular property is a huge process. Is it a huge difference? Is $130 a month life-changing? Well, for those who own a house, not really. So what I'm saying is, as much as things have changed, these are not life-changing differences. So never let the overly hyped news and articles and media and that kind of stuff get to you. That's one of the things I mentioned probably every newsletter. I hope you guys don't get bored with me saying it. So let's look at this August versus July. This same year, same summer. So of course this is summer. Everything's a little slower in the summer, but homes sold way up. Well, I shouldn't say way up, but almost 15%. That's significant considering usually August is kind of the slower month towards the end. And then it picks up in September with the fall market, which is what it's going to be doing now shortly. New listings down, active listings down. That's a given. And prices, of course, about the same. With semis dropping that specific month, August versus July. So don't worry about the average price so much because it's only month over month. It's from July to August, in the same summer. But interestingly, again, what I wanted to show you, the sales actually up. And of course, in July we had the interest rate hike. So interest rates hike, like anything, have a psychological effect initially, but then people see that the world isn't collapsing and they kind of move on with life. Again, I know I'll attract your attention to the two payments, which are not very different considering the price difference and the kind of market it was. Keep in mind also, I should add before I move on, it's September of 2022, this month. When you buy something, you're probably not competing with too many people. That rarely happens anymore. It does happen occasionally. That may be 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15. The rest, you're actually negotiating with the seller as per usual. Take note of that, please, because that would not be the case 6-7 months ago. Onward. Context. The effect of the 1% interest rate hike. This is my slide from my last newsletter. I'm reusing it only to make the same point. Number of sales the first week of August. Not unlike July, as I mentioned previously, almost identical to the number of sales in the first week of July. So the point being that it didn't have that much of an effect. I know people say it is, and mathematically you would think that it would make an effect. But really, the market has already changed. And unless you can change 20 to 25% of a price with something else, we're kind of flattened out already, folks. Onward. Here's a biggie. I want you guys to see this. Sellers, take note of equity and value. Buyers, please take note. If you're thinking of all entering the market and you're allowing the news to get to you, please take a note of this. Watch this. So this is the interest. This is an interest. This is average sales price. Average sales price. So again, with a grain of salt in terms of overall number, but look at the pattern. So obviously from 13 to 14, upwards of that spike in 2017, and here we are at the very peak of 2022, which is January, February-ish, March-ish. And then, of course, towards the middle end of March, things started to begin to change. And in April of this year, things really changed quickly. So we had a drop within a month or two. Not unlike 2017. But here's why I wanted to show this to you guys. This is clearly the peak. This is where we are right here. Right here. Okay? This is August of 2021. Here's August of 2022. So price, very similar. We're only up slightly. So again, same prices as 2021, generally speaking. Why I'm showing you this is we've already had this. This is about 20% or so drop on average. That's a huge drop in price. And I still hear people saying, oh, you know what? We're going to have a bigger drop. We're still going to have a drop. And people are waiting because people always want to be Warren Buffett and time the market just right, which is a horrible idea across the board. Even Warren Buffett would say so. But let's just say, I really want to prove this point, guys. I hope I'm not sounding rude, but I wanted to prove a point here. So this is 20%. Say somehow I'm way wrong. I've been wrong before, not in real estate particularly. However, occasionally. Say you drop another 20%. And for the buyers that are talking about this now, people entering the market now saying, oh, it's too expensive. If it drops another 20%, absolutely, I'll get in. That's when it's to be fair. Okay, fantastic. It drops 20%. Where are we? Roughly, we were at the peak of 2017. And you know what? The same people that were saying that things are too expensive right now, I'm going to wait for the market to drop, said to me in 2017, when the market was like this, what did they say? So, oh, no, housing's way too expensive. I'm waiting for it to drop another 20, 30%. So 20% is the same as 2017, even not at the peak, somewhere in the middle here. The point being, it's never cheap enough. And the psychology of people is, I can always get it cheaper. I can always get it cheaper. When it gets cheaper, it's one of the situations in life where, everything has to be perfect, where the planets are aligned properly. It's the right time of day. The weather is perfect. I've got the right dress on. Bam, now I can buy a house. That's not the reality of life. The perfect situation will never happen. And again, say I'm entirely wrong and you guys can make fun of me, I don't mind. Drop another 20% here. Where are we? Still the same price range where people, the same kinds of people, sometimes the same people, were telling me the market's too expensive. I'm waiting for it to drop some more. So if that's you, if that's kind of your mindset, I'm not making fun of you. Honestly, I'm not. I'm just saying that don't miss out. I've seen people struggle to be able to buy because they missed out earlier. And they've told me, Andrew, I wish I had talked to you a few years ago. Sellers, take heart. We're still very high versus everything. And honestly, my personal opinion, it's going to keep going up. It's going to flatten out where it is right now. It's going to start going up a little bit. Last but not least, quick summary. So sales are not tumbling as a result of the interest rate hike. Not really. There's an effect. Undoubtedly, there's an effect. But for the most part, the effect has already been that interest rates are higher. That small effect, the biggest effect is the price drop. And so interest in terms of sales overall, they'll continue. And we'll have a half decent year. And it won't be crazy. Again, everything compared to a crazy year looks weird. But it's a fairly normal year, give or take. Rent is going up monthly. This is a biggie. This is a big one. I want you guys to be aware of this. Rent is going up monthly with multiple offers on some rental units. That's a huge deal. And it's going to continue. It's just this year because during COVID, things were down in terms of rent. Now landlords are making up for it. And I don't blame them because they actually couldn't even do stuff. They couldn't even kick people out. I can tell you horror stories from landlords that I know, but I won't. So if you're not buying property because you're waiting for the price to drop some more, see my previous slide, pause it, go back, look at it honestly. And for whatever reason you want to come up with that you can't enter the market, please consider. At least consider it. I don't know if the market's going to continue the way it is. You'll be able to buy at last year's prices. That's a pretty big deal. I tell this in 2020 with condos downtown, and not a lot of people listen to me, but they could have because they would have gotten a great deal. So please reconsider your strategy. Sellers, take heart. Remember, if you're selling and buying in the same market, you're not really losing anything. But in this market, at least when you're buying, more options, less fighting with other buyers for each property. So that's where the market is right now. I'll be updating you guys in October, probably earlier in the month than this month because of several different reasons, including technical difficulties. Guys, I wish you a fantastic rest of September. My heart goes out to all of you. If you guys have questions, let me know. Please, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit like. I don't do anything but real estate, and this is minimal stuff. Some listings, but all on the channel. It doesn't come out to you. You'll just be notified that something came out. Other than that, I will obviously, if you guys have any questions, you know where to contact me. And as always, guys, please take care. I'll see you in October.